All right, hey gunslingers, this is Chief Power. Excited to be with you today. This is a very special Chiefs corner because I have one of my teammates, one of my battle buddies, Senior Master Sergeant Phil Ballinger, who's tuned in all the way from Hawaii, from the Aloha State, and this is a pretty awesome opportunity to connect with one of the very best that we get a chance to be on a team together every single day, see him in action, and just super excited to share the stage with you in today's Chiefs Corner. So, Senior Ballinger, how you doing today?
Hey, Chief. Thank you for inviting me here to the Chiefs Corner. I'm doing great. I'm excited to
Yeah,
get this started. I appreciate you inviting me out here. Uh, long time listener, first time contributor type of situation. So uh, I'm just appreciative of the opportunity.
awesome. Yeah, Senior, it's just been such a great experience being in the wing with you. The time that we've been in the 67 cyberspace wing together. You're a phenomenal SEL, and I've admired you and been mentored by you, and I've appreciated the teamwork that we've had as senior enlisted leaders together in the wing. So this is a special Chiefs Corner too, because this is the first time that we're accomplishing this with a gunslinger, if you will, that is not in the JBSA area where we've done this in the past. So we're paving the way hopefully for future opportunities to come. Because as you know, the 67 cyberspace wing, we're a geographically separated wing where we have gunslingers all over doing amazing things, and no better place to start than highlighting, what you do and what your squadron does. But Senior Ballinger, before we kind of get into that, before we get into your unit, it's a really cool mission. Would love to kind of get to know you just a little bit more. Could you share why you came in the Air Force?
Yeah, absolutely. So growing up, I grew up in a small town in East Texas called Nacogdoches. After high school, I went off to college. And I sort of just I thought that's what you do. You go off to college, you get your degree, and then you go off and you have a great career. Me going off to college, I would say that I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I was sort of lost in the in college, and so I would say that environment wasn't really where I thrived. I would say, and so I actually came back to my hometown, started working, some local jobs as a waiter for a little while, um, and then I actually recalled some great wisdom that one of my cousins shared with me. He unfortunately died, Scott Larson. He died in Iraq in 2004 during the shock and awe phase of Operation Iraqi Freedom. And he actually had a similar journey. After high school, he went off to college and then didn't really find his niche, didn't feel like that's really where he thrived. And so he actually joined the Army. And I recalled his words to me specifically saying that, hey, joining the Army was actually something that I found a sense of purpose in. Like I got together with a team, we all shared this sense of a higher purpose type of thing, and we're all getting after it together. And so that those words actually resonated with me because working those local jobs as a waiter and whatnot, it wasn't really fulfilling, and I didn't really have a grand sense of purpose, I would say. And so then that led me to talking to the recruiters and ultimately joining the Air Force.
Wow. Wow, that's a great story, and it's incredible to always get to know the why, And I remember way back when our former chief staff of the Air Force years back, General Mark Welsh used to say every airman has a story, and yours is pretty awesome, and led you to this passion that you have to serve our great nation. So you decided to join the Air Force. You took this great advice. We're grateful you did. But why did you decide to make it a career? Why have you stuck around so long?
Yeah, appreciate the question. So as whenever I got down to my first unit was which was actually a Barksdale 608th Air Communications Squadron. I actually came in as a 2E2, sorry, which is actually a computer systems switching router technician. I know that's kind of a mouthful. But at my first unit, I really found that sense of camaraderie, if you will. And so, like, all of us getting together to get after a common objective. What also I really enjoy about the service, and I've been fortunate enough to be a part of these great teams, I would say, is having people come from different backgrounds as well. Because finding that, everyone has their niche or a piece of the puzzle, and then coming all together to really get after the mission is something that I really have a great sense of pride in, and that's really what leads to a great camaraderie. And so that has really what has fueled me to continue, coming up on probably my 18-year mark next year. So through the enlistments, re-enlistments, cross training as well. So I know I did start out as a 2E2. Eventually that merged into the 3D1 career field in 2009. And then I eventually cross trained into the 1B4 career field. And so, really, when I started out in the Air Force, I was support to computer operations, network administrator, systems administrator, routing, switching, firewall configurations, you name it. Um, and really, like, that first assignment was at the AOC, so I got to learn about how my support to operations really helped the air picture, for the combatant commander, you name it, right? And then eventually in 2015, that's when I decided, hey, I've kind of learned about a lot of the support to operations, but I really want to take something more challenging and figure out and find out what it means to be on keyboard as a 1B4 cyber operator, figuring out what is the actual operations, right? Um, what I learned from support to operations is a lot of it doesn't necessarily change. And so, as a network administrator earlier in my career, um, I would say I gained the technical expertise to really figure out how networks work. And it once you learn it's not really ever evolving and changing and challenging like the cyber warfare career field, I would say. And so, becoming a 1B4, it's I would say, a daily challenge, if not weekly, monthly challenge to figure out those technical expertise, because it is constantly always evolving how we get after um, our adversaries.
Yeah. Wow. Awesome. Yeah. Thanks for sharing. I always joke, when I get a chance to share a little bit about why I joined. I think I shared with you once. I'm currently on year 27 of a 4-year enlistment. I just keep going like the Energizer Bunny, I guess. But it was definitely for a lot of the reasons that you described. I didn't understand what I was getting into. I was kind of looking at this as a GI Bill, maybe a way out of the small town environment in Indiana. But then became something bigger than that. The planes are cool, but quickly I realized it's the people that make it an amazing experience. The camaraderie you talked about, and then the journey you've had in your 18 years, which is incredible. Starting over on the 2E side, and then now on the 1 Bravo 4 side, being a cyber warfare operator. The depth of knowledge that it takes is remarkable. It's a warfighting domain. We've talked about this a lot. In our Air Force, how cyberspace operations. It's an important domain that we have to succeed in. In the 67 Cyberspace Wing, we train, develop, and deliver incredible capabilities to our combatant commanders every single day. And a lot of those are importantly coming from a pretty cool squadron that's all the way out in Honolulu, Hawaii, the 352nd COS. Could you talk about the 352nd Cyber Operations Squadron, the Firebirds, and what you guys do in the 67 Cyberspace Wing?
Yeah, absolutely, Chief. So, as you already alluded to, we are a geographically separated unit out here in Hawaii. We are under the the DoD's only, or the Air Force's only operations cyberspace operations group, the 67th Cyberspace Operations Group, which is actually housed out there in San Antonio. Here on Hawaii, we actually have three different sites here. And so we have about 75% intelligence airmen, 25% cyber, and also support airmen. But as far as how we get after the mission in this AOR is we actually have two combat mission teams and a combat support team under U.S. Cybercom. And essentially, we are developing non-kinetic capabilities to get after our adversaries here in the AOR.
Yeah, it's, oh my gosh, it's such an incredible mission to be a part of, and our United States Air Force is re-optimizing for great power competition, and we, as a gunslinger in the 67 Cyberspace Wing, we pride ourselves in just the chance to be in competition every single day, and being really good at what we do. And the Firebirds and the 352nd certainly has a great reputation about them. To include the success you have in the organizational culture, the development that continues to thrive in the unit. We're all the way out here in San Antonio, but not a day goes by where we don't hear about the goodness that the Firebirds are doing, whether it's in Gunslinger University, whether it's in DEIA, organizational culture. You're the senior enlisted leader of the 352nd. You've been in the seat for quite a while. You're here soon, going to wrap up your time as the SEL. But could you talk to your time in the 352nd as the SEL, and maybe what has led to the success of the very strong professional development culture that you have in the 352nd, to include winning some pretty major awards while you're in the seat as SEL?
Yeah, Chief. So kind of going back to our conversation about, hey, what I do in the Air Force, you name it, like learning all those technical expertise, and now actually having the opportunity to be a senior enlisted leader of a squadron is something that I would say fuels me even more to continue in the Air Force, because now I have the opportunity to give back to the airmen. And so becoming a senior enlisted leader, I would say that there are inherent responsibilities to that position, but also a lot of it is kind of choose your own adventure and figure out how you are going to improve the unit that you're with, and really get back to the airmen. But I will say that it's not, I don't do it on my own. So the credit for how the organization is going is definitely to the senior NCOs, I would say, and also the officers and other leaders that are really helping me get after some of the initiatives. But I know coming out here to the 352nd, focus that I wanted to have for the unit was the professional development aspect. I am also very thankful that Gunslinger University came to the wing as well, because that helped us expand our professional development to more of a wing emphasis as well. But a lot of our professional development really like relies on senior NCOs, and officers that want to develop and lead their airmen, because a lot of times we're doing cyber, we're doing ISR operations, you name it, and we kind of get lost in the sauce, and we're sometimes having to step back and realize, like, hey, we're also wearing this uniform, and we have to kind of get after some Air Force professional development to kind of, okay, make us realize why we are wearing the uniform at the end of the day. And so I will say that we do partner with PACAF, the Professional Development Center here, which is along with the Binnaker PME Center. And so we host a lot of courses there. We have a lot of our airmen involved in like the leadership panels, but also Airman PES, NCO PES, Senior NCO PES. They actually asked me, along with some of the other senior NCOs, to host a narrative writing course. We host that probably once a month over there, giving the success that the Firebirds have had with our awards. But also we have the Firebirds are leading some of the professional development organizations as well up at the NSA sites, and so we have our airmen leading professional development, like for the 5-6 up at the NSA sites, and also the top three organization. But also it bleeds into what you were talking about as well, Chief, is the diversity and inclusion team that's here locally in the Firebirds. I will say that recently the ACC Diversity and Inclusion POC has actually asked us, our DNI team, for sort of our best practices, and because we actually recently were like codified as the first diversity and inclusion official council for ACC. So we actually have a president, a vice president. We have a training engagements lead, an external engagements lead, which actually brings in like the BOGs, so like the base advocacy working groups, to help facilitate our DNI syncs, but also to help facilitate our DNI training days. So what we like to do is we like to have a once a quarter, we host a diversity and inclusion training day for all the Firebirds, where we really get together and we focus on how do we build these teams throughout our formation, outside of the mission, right? If that makes sense. And so what we try to do is like we try to bring in personability, but also like, hey, what makes you unique, right? And so then we like to expand that out to the team mindset and say, all right, this is what you uniquely bring to the team. And so that also helps the leaders and those that are over the airmen understand like how the airmen think and how to best empower them, um, outside of mission, but also really on mission, because what we see is that diversity and inclusion, it drives an investment on mission that you don't necessarily get if you're just trying to build the team on mission.
Yeah. Wow. that that is an incredible journey that the Firebirds have gone through for a long time. You know, you as the SEL, you've crushed it. Like you are, you got two important jobs. You got to make your boss successful and commanding and leading your organization. But also you want to do everything you can to empower your airmen to be successful. And if there's anything that's limiting their ability to achieve success, then we got to knock down those roadblocks and overcome those obstacles. This specifically your DNI council is huge. You're creating the relationships that teams need to have to thrive, and excel in. And of course, the chance that you kind of highlighted, identify the strengths that we all have, that we get a chance to bring to our teams that we're a part of, to our Air Force, to being an airman. So it's just such a cool culture that the Firebirds have. And I know when I got into the wing, it was quick to discover. And when we stood up Gunslinger University, as a wing's personal and professional development program, you were one of the charter mentors that we had, and quickly you got a lot of calls to facilitate from afar, and you kindly always obliged. And in fact, your reputation certainly precedes you, and it's not you're well known, of course, across the wing, but also across the Air Force, and our joint organizational units that we're a part of. And I know you have traveled far to support many opportunities to deliver talented, skilled professional development that's going to help make our NCOs and our senior NCOs better because of the things that you've been a part of. So Senior Ballinger, we're kind of wrapping up our time here, but it's not lost on me that you're kind of at that point where you're wrapping up your time as the SEL of the Firebirds of the 352nd Cyberspace Operations Squadron. And I just want you to know I'm proud of you. I'm so grateful I got a chance to stand shoulder to shoulder with you as a senior enlisted leader in the wing. One thing I strive to make sure I get right is, you've done a great job of focusing on recognition in your unit to take care of your airmen. They deserve it. They do a great job at their mission, and there's been a lot of recognition for Firebirds. But it takes leaders like you who take the time to put them in and nominate them for those awards that they get a chance to receive the recognition that they deserve. But it really starts with you, and I just want to say thank you for doing that. I this is my first time doing this on the Chiefs corner, but I have the command chief coin here. So I am
Um,
going to I'm going to get this to you ASAP. Just so you know, you crushed it as our SCL of the 352nd cause. Excited to see the many great things to come in your career, but this coin is certainly on behalf of all of the enlisted gunslingers in the 67th, just to say thank you for a job well done, and we wish you the very best of luck on your next assignment.
hey, wow, I really appreciate that, Chief. A great mentor of mine once told me, in regards to the awards and the recognition, you never know what that one award will mean to someone. And I have seen firsthand what it means for an airman once they get recognition for what they're doing. Like they turn around and that really fuels them even more because it's just validation and also proof that hey, they're doing amazing work. And so that, just seeing that is something that's very, I would say, makes me very proud to be a senior enlisted leader because, as I was saying earlier, like having that chance to give back is something that I really, really love to do. And I really do appreciate the shout out as well. I I've been in this wing for going on 10 years now. And so I actually started out at the 390th cost, went up to the wing IG staff for a little bit, went over to the DCO side at the 92nd cost, and now the 352nd. So I know I'm kind of wrapping up probably my time in the wing, at least for a little bit. I've absolutely loved being a gunslinger, and this is a one of a kind culture that I'm absolutely proud and grateful to have been a part of.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think you probably heard it before, and you'll always hear it again. Once a gunslinger, always a gunslinger, always Ohana. We are, hopefully going to see you come back to the wing before too long. But with that, we'll go ahead and wrap up our time here on today's Chiefs Corner. Thanks again, Senior Master Sergeant Ballinger. You incredible job, the 352nd Cyberspace Operations Squadron. Crushes it, does incredible things for our nation every single day. Thanks for your leadership. And thanks, everybody, for tuning in to this Chiefs Corner. Until next time, light them up.
Line them up.